Hello, my name is Arjun Gandewar, and I will be a senior at Rock Hill High School next year. My question was, how will lunch operate if you choose to go in person, since people will be having their masks off while eating?
Well, Arjun, lunches will work where we're trying to set up with our food service company a more of a grab and go. So a lot of the times where students like at Sonic here or Burger King over at PHS, where they could sit there and put in a specific order, like I want pickles on my burger, but no onions, that may go away and it may just be, here's a burger. Because what we're trying to do is keep social distancing intact, but still give students as many options as possible. At PHS, there's an app that we're using and we're going to try to push everyone to use that app to pre-order so it's ready when you get to the cafeteria. That really works in the Subway sandwich line. Not the trademark name Subway, just the Subway sandwich line. And then we'll space as much as we can students at different tables. Like this table will be A and C lunch, this table will be B and D lunch. We'll disinfect after each round. The custodians administration will clean the tables. And then I think that's about all I can think of right now.
Hi, my name is Sid Tolia. I will be an incoming freshman at Rock Hill High School. My main concern for next year will the learning material and the assignments be the same between online learning and in-person learning?
That's exactly what we were just discussing in our admin meetings, making sure that we've got similar. It'll be the same assignments. It'll be the same grading guidelines, the same rigor. That's either online or in person, regardless of where you're at. Just to remain the consistency, of the quality of the education that you're getting. So long story short, it will be the same. You'll be under the same guidelines, the same grading as if you were in person or if you're online.
Hi, my name is Sarah Cronin, and I'm going to be a junior at Rock Hill next year. And my question is, how do you plan on doing social distancing? Because since there's normally 25 to 30 kids in a class, how do you plan on doing the 6 feet apart? Or do you plan on having smaller class sizes?
Depending on the number of students who chose virtual learning, that will automatically space out the classrooms. But the guidance from the state is that as long as there's a mask being worn, that is a protection that it doesn't guarantee anything. So in the secondary realm, and specifically for us at the high school, we'll space out as much as we can. But if you take a hypothetical number, Grant, of 20% of the kids say they want to do virtual learning. Well, if you have a class of 30, then that'll be 6 kids who won't be in the classroom. Well, you take those 6 desks and you spread out a little bit more. We will be, we're discussing, do we want to wipe down the desks at the end of the period? Or when you come into the class, we give you wipes and you wipe your own area. We're thinking that students would want to wipe their own area to make sure it's clean rather than relying on it just gives you peace of mind that everything's been wiped down. Now during lunch, like we said earlier, the custodians and the administration will take care of cleaning all the tables and chairs and that kind of thing. But in the classes, we're going to ask students to help us by cleaning their own area, whether that be at the beginning of class when you walk in or at the end. So that's where the spacing will come into effect, is the virtual learning, those who choose that, and then also as much as we can, we space out. And plus PISD has done an incredible job of we're not overstaffed, but we hire with the taxpayer money enough teachers to where our class sizes are typically in the low 20s to mid 20s, low to mid 20s. So right there, our classes for the most part are already spread out. Now we can't do 6 feet everywhere because if the governor ever mandated they had to be 6 feet, well, we're going to have to double or triple our staff. And they've not done that. So we're going to utilize our masks, and we're going to utilize disinfecting and spraying and those things. And in the evenings, we'll do some pretty deep cleanings and things such as that. So that'll help with the cleaning up of the classrooms and things such as that, okay?
Hi, my name is Kachida Kama. I'll be a senior at Rock Hill, and my question is, how will procedures such as wearing masks be enforced during the school year?
As far as enforcement goes, we're going to do a great job. Of course, Grant, this about trying to put out there positive messages about protecting each other, protecting our teachers, protecting yourself, and try to get as much of a positive, communication out there about this as we possibly can. We understand it's an inconvenience to have to wear a mask all day. We understand it's an inconvenience to have to keep space between you and somebody else. And, we can't crowd 8 people around a lunch table anymore, and things like that. And so, but again, it's to protect everybody. It's to protect you against getting it. And, kind of like we talked about, Grant, in our meeting the other day, is to protect your teachers, because, obviously we don't want them to get it, because when you look at all the data and things that are going on with the virus, it's affecting, if you are getting, depends on just a wide array of the severity of how you're being affected by this. So I think just protecting each other, doing the things that we need to do, like Dr. Burdett talked about, cleaning, disinfecting, wearing your mask, those kinds of things, to make that the focus of, this is what I need to do, because that's my part of this. I need to do my part and hold up my end. So now if there's a refusal to do something along those lines, then we're going to deal with that on an individual basis of each kid, so that we'll just talk to them, talk to their parents, try to explain things the best that we can to get them to comply with our safety guidelines. So, but it's just like anything. If you're refusing to do something, if you're being, we call it insubordination, being disrespectful, those kinds of things, and that's a discipline issue that we'll have to address with our administration. So, but we're just hoping, like I said, that everybody complies with it the best that they can, and do the things that we're asking them to do to protect each other and to protect our teachers. And like we talk about at Rock Hill, protecting the rock. So, we want to make sure that we're protecting that, because it's a temporary thing. It's not something that's going to be forever. And so if we can do our part in this and get through this first phase of whatever this is going to look like, and for however long it's going to look like, and knowing that on the back end of that, we're going to get back to what our normal was prior to this. But we're not going to get there if people aren't doing the things that we're asking them to do.
And we try to be as neutral as possible. And what Mr. Toth and I have to think about all the time is, what is the worst case scenario? How do we prevent that? So to those who would say, well, I'm not wearing a mask, they don't do anything. That's a choice. We hope you don't do that. My question would be, what if the data is correct that wearing a mask reduces this and can flatten the curve? What if it's correct? Okay, you reduce the curve. Well, what if it's wrong? What if the data is completely wrong and it does nothing to it? Well, then you're inconvenienced for a few weeks and you have to wear a mask. We're all wearing a mask. We're all in this together. We made these, Mr. Toth came up with this design last year with Together We Are One. We're in this together. We're not trying to crush anybody's style or trample on anybody's civil liberties or anything like that. We're just trying to do what's best to protect our kids and protect our community. Mr. Toth and I, we don't carry any sort of platform with this. We just want to make, and neither does any other principal or folks in our district. We want to do what's best for our kids and protect our kids. So we're going to fall on the side of being overly cautious and an abundance of caution to protect our kids. So that's what we're doing. This is for the safety of our kids and our staff, like Mr. Toth talked about, and if we're wrong and masks don't work at all, then we all look goofy for a few weeks and big deal.
Hi, my name is Madison Wills, and I'll be a senior next year at Rock Hill High School. My question is, will students have the same technology and Chromebooks as last year, or will we all have to take designated technology to class? Thank you.
We're going to send communication out this weekend possibly. At the high school level, we're going to go one-to-one. So we're going to give every student a Chromebook that they will keep. We'll check them out, and it's kind of a rental. You get to keep it. and you take it home with you, you bring it back with you. And what we didn't want to do is have to, because at the high school, we change classes every period. So it was just best if we give Grant Johnson his Chromebook and he uses that Chromebook all day. He can take it home. And then the event we have to lock down like we did in the spring, you already have your technology with you. Those who were chosen virtual learning, they will get a Chromebook before the start of the year. So they hit the ground running. And we'll have Chromebooks available through the various technology classes. We'll have extra chargers in case a Chromebook, the battery goes down, but we'll also have those Chromebooks in case someone forgets or someone's Chromebook doesn't work. So we're going to be ready for that. And I think that'll help our students without a disruption in learning.
Hi, my name is Erin Coleman, and I'll be a senior next year at Rock Hill. One of my concerns is if we're going to have a football season and pep rallies still.
Yeah, so right now we haven't gotten any guidance from UIL as far as football, volleyball, cross country, tennis, those kinds of things that are in the fall. So we know as much as probably you do, about just speculation about football season and stuff like that. As far as pep rallies and assemblies, we're not allowed to have those right now. But I'm sure Dr. Burdett feels the same way. Once we can have a pep rally, it'll be the best pep rally ever. So we'll make up for it on the back end once we can get everybody back together and have a great pep rally and get everybody in the arena and just celebrate. And because that'll be a great time, because this will kind of all be behind us, and that'll be something huge to celebrate. So, but unfortunately, right now we just can't have those, and we'll just have to, do what we need to do, and then know that in the future that we're going to have some awesome pep rallies for sure to celebrate.
Mr. Toth talked about that earlier with online platform being the same as in person. Instruction's the same, assessments are the same. The high standard will be no matter where you are, you're expected to learn and you're expected to achieve to your maximum potential. So yes, now it's different than what we had in the spring. I mean, what we had in the spring was absolutely new to us. We were more understanding. We focused on the social emotional health of the students. We're going to continue doing that, but we're here to take care of you, but we're also here to learn, because we have to prepare students for when they leave us, that they're critical thinkers and critical doers out in the world past high school. So the expectations will be exactly the same. Teachers are working on what assessments will look like. We don't know what that is right now because it'll be up to each team and what they're going to do. And we're working across the high school, so teachers will plan together, the ones from Rock Hill and from PHS, and we'll also have some middle school teachers who will be in on this, like for Algebra 1, Spanish 1, those classes that in the middle schools that count for high school credit, so that we're consistent across the board. And so the class rank carries on as it is. And so we don't see any break in that, and that's our goal, is just try to make this as seamless as possible.
And so that's what we're working on. So we're going to try to put together some opportunities for kids to come up and with a parent and tour. We're hoping to start that towards the end of July, and we would do some kind of virtual video presentation. And then our admin team met today, and they've got a pretty neat idea about doing a kind of a mini scavenger hunt around the campus, where you would take one of our staff members would take you to different places, and there'd be some video presentations at each station, so then you could kind of get more about what that space is for and things like that. So and then maybe do something. Dr. Burdett had a great idea for what PHS was doing, was having a drone fly through the campus so you can get an aerial shot of what the campus looks like on the inside, so we could look at doing something like that as well. But so that's our plan, is to start that at the end of July. We go through the first week in August, and then we're going to have our ribbon cutting, and there'll be an open house at that time from about 7 to 8. I think it's our time frame in that, so that'll be another opportunity. But best advice I could say is to have your schedule, once those schedules are released, to have it pulled up on your Skyward, so that if you are in one of those tours and you can see, okay, my math class is in 1207, so I can kind of get a ballpark about where 1207's at. And then we're going to have our student council and our Hope Squad kids be available during the day when we do have school to be a hallway helper, so that they can guide them to the right direction. So those are some of the things that we're planning on, because it is going to be limited access to the building, obviously, before school starts.
Well, we hope that does not happen. So I mean, a couple of things. If it's at home, obviously they stay home. But if it's during school and they start displaying symptoms at school, we isolate the student, take him or her down to the nurse. That's another reason we have masks on. Masks are a pretty good preventive maintenance of preventing the spread of that. Or shields, or both. And so we isolate the student as much as possible, get them down to the nurse, call their parents, have them come pick them up. And obviously we disinfect the area where the student was. If we need to take that class out, monitor them. If we need to just monitor them over the next few days, we would call their parents, let them know, just make sure that everybody's informed of that. Anybody, say it's second period, so if that student was in first period, we'd also contact those parents just to let them know. There's guidance that kind of goes back and forth from the state on you need to shut down for 5 days or you don't shut down for 5 days. It's a local decision. So we're waiting for more details on that, on if we would have to shut down for 5 days. We don't know the exact answer just yet. So if we get something definitive from the governor or our TEA commissioner, then we will enact those. Or if it is a local decision, then we may just have to look at those on case-by-case basis.
So I know that's a concern with the mask, and so we're going to provide teachers with face shields. They can have that if we're having a hard time hearing, in class, and our teachers are so awesome about accommodating and making sure that they're being able to project the sound to the students if we've got students in there that do have a difficult time hearing or can't understand what the teacher's saying. So there are alternatives besides just wearing a mask. If that's becoming an issue, then we can just talk to the staff member and see if we can come up with the best solution for that student.
We will align both SOAR time and EGLE time at both schools to be the same time, and that'll be at the end of the first block and the fifth block. And so right now, to minimize transition and cleaning and the possibilities of the spread of anything, we're going to stay in place. So it'll serve as a study hall. It'll also serve as a time for, like when we were at PHS, Make It Matter Mondays. We'll do some social emotional things. We'll do some we try not to put students in groups per se, but you can still do Google Hangouts, even though you might be in the same class. It'll make us be creative on what we can do to build relationships among our students. That'll also be a time, first period and fifth period, of when we've scheduled several of the classes where students travel from one school to the other. So that'll allow transition back to their home campus. So that's kind of what we're going to do for right now. And just as with pep rallies, as soon as we can get back into normal with drafting, with advisory here at Rock Hill, that's the purpose of those, is to get an academic benefit, and also get to do some clubs and things such as that during that time.
Yeah, and just going off of what Dr. Burdett, so SOAR time will be very similar to what he's describing at PHS. And so, it's going to be a situation where we have to have everybody at the same time, because, the students that are doing online learning, it could be very well that the online class, the teacher for that class is at PHS. And so we want to give kids opportunities to be able to connect with, each other, or if, they need to have tutoring or something like that, to be able to connect with a Google Meet from a teacher in another classroom. So that's why they're going to be at the same time on the back end of first period. And just like Dr. Burdett said, providing opportunities for them to connect, have social emotional learning activities within that first period. Then also we're looking at things that they can do online as well. So for students that are doing virtual learning, to have an opportunity to do that too. So the only thing, like Dr. Brett said, is we're trying to minimize the transitions. That's why we're not doing the drafting, and that's why we're not having it be a separate period and just having it on the first period like we planned. So, but it'll run very similar to what it's going to be at PHS. You've got 10 days before the first, or 2 weeks before the first day of school. So I think August 3rd, if I'm right. I think it might be before that. Anyways, it's 2 weeks before the first day of school that you have to change. And so we're asking people to hold tight after that point, because that's how we're going to make staffing adjustments. So we're going to have to allocate this many teachers for online instruction, this many teachers for in-person instruction. And so if there's a lot of changing going on at that time, then that's going to throw off our staffing. And so we ask that they make a decision, make up their mind, and then hold tight to that while school starts. Now, once school starts, we're asking them to commit to a grading period. So if I'm online instruction at the beginning of the year, then to stay in that until that first 9 weeks is finished. Now, if you want to make a change after that point, then we'll accommodate that, and that'll just be run through your counselor so we can make that change. So we're really, like I said, the big thing is just with our staffing and to make sure that we've got the right amount of teachers devoted to the right amount of courses, either in person or online. And if we're allowing a lot of changes, then that's not going to be very accurate. It's going to throw us off. So. I think just on my end, kind of like I talked about earlier, is knowing that this is temporary. Knowing that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We just can't see it right now, but it is there, and it's going to be there. And so, Dr. Reb made a great point about being the together we are prosper. And it's going to take everybody. It's going to take everybody doing the things that we're asking our students to do, asking our parents to do, our teachers to do, to get through it on the back end. But it'll be an awesome experience once we get through this part to get back to normal. And I think we're going to realize how much we appreciated all those things that we couldn't do during this time, like we talk about pep-rallies and stuff like that, and just being together, even just a simple hug, whenever you see somebody that you haven't seen in a while, we can't do that. We can't shake hands. And so, I think just understanding that we've got to do our part as individuals for the bigger picture. And if we can do that, and we can come together, then I think it's going to be an awesome time to say, hey, we overcame this, and it was a lot longer than we thought it was going to be, but we came out great on the back end of it. And, let's celebrate together and get back to our normal and like we're living like we're used to be.
Yeah, and to add to that, Grant, we're going to use this as an opportunity to grow. We're going to use this as an opportunity to grow as individuals, to become stronger. We're going to use this as an opportunity to grow together as not only the students here at Rock Hill High School, but at Prosper High School, and also as a district and as a community. What can you do for others? And like we talked about with the mask, you may disagree with that, and that is your right to disagree. But what if it does help? What if it does help? We're going to do things to serve others, to help our fellow man. The golden rule, we're going to try to enact that. That's part of our graduate profile, is helping out the community and giving back to others. This is one way in a small snapshot of time. Now it feels like forever, since spring break, the longest spring break ever, that we've had to do this. But like Mr. Tota said, it's going to be over soon. And when it does, thank goodness. And we will cherish and, we will savor every single moment from that point on, have an opportunity to be around each other, and just be with one another in one accord. So, the lights, we may not see the light, but it's coming and it's going to be there. We have faith that we're going to get through this. To parents and students, please know that we are working diligently. we're trying to not to communicate everything we're doing, because then that causes confusion, because we say one thing one week and then the governor or the government comes out and says something different, and then we have to come back and change. So we're trying to just be still a little bit and wait, and when the time is right to communicate, we communicate. So there's a lot of unknown, but just know behind the scenes, just like with graduation, there aren't many people that know there were about 10 different graduations that we had planned, and we ended up doing one. There was a lot of work that went into it. There were a lot of people doing it, and with that, look at the outcome that we had. We had a great graduation. There were so many people involved, and this is the same thing. There are so many people working from pre-K through 12, from Dr. Ferguson, our brand new superintendent, who's awesome, and we thank goodness that she's our new superintendent. What a takeover for Dr. Watkins and where we're going as a district. And once this is all over, we'll look back and say, you know what, we gave back to others and we sacrificed for others, because that's what we should do. And you're not damaged by it, you're not hurt by it, but you're helping others, and that's what we want to do as a community. So if everyone graduates high school and they've given back to others, if that's the one thing, that's pretty dang good. And we'll hang our hat on that, and that's something to be proud of. And so we're asking that. We're asking for patience. We are working through this. We're doing as much as we can, and we're going to have a good plan together. So we hope everybody, once they make their selection, they stick with that. That'll help us with the classes here and online. It helps us make good quality decisions on who's going to be teaching those classes, and then setting everything up so we can have quality learning experiences for the students.